Thing. Okay, now the worst of the bunch for this video, right? When we talk about per unit subsidy, it's going to be a mess, okay? Mainly because graphically it's the most confusing one, okay? 你發覺畫極都好樣衰㗎，但係好正常嘅，樣衰係啱㗎，OK？嗱，without further ado, now again, we follow the same logic of our last video, right? Let's use the easy way first. And then after we are done with the past paper or until we hit a wall with the past paper, then we will use this method, the area method, to explain what's going on with the dead weight loss again. Okay, now first of all, let's start with the easy way. Okay, the easier, not easy, right? Easier way. Okay, with MB and MC. Okay, D equals to MB. Now remember, it's just the opposite. 嗱，留翻少少位俾自己啊呢度啊嘛。This is S1 equals to MC. 係嘛？ Then we have a subsidy. Now therefore, it's going to have a downward shift. Okay, we call it subsidy. Here again, let's call it MC plus S or minus S， 你中意啦，冇所謂啦，係咪啊 ？Just to remember, this is not our MC curve, right? But the MC, the altered 係咪一個假嘅？呢條係假嘅。好啦，嗱 remember back in the days when we study chapter 11, remember we always start with Q2. The same applies here. Let's start with Q2 here， 動上嚟。Okay, now this is the point. MB equals to MC 呢個係不變嘅 MB equals to MC. Okay, this doesn't change. Now, because of the subsidy at Q2, let's see what happens to both MB and MC. Okay, MB will be at here. MC will be at here. Do you see? In this case, MB is actually smaller than MC, and somehow we ended up above, okay? We ended up above the efficient quantity, okay? We have a name for this one. We call it overproduction, okay? 原來會做太多 okay? 好嘛 So the area, MB, MC, MB equals to MC. This area, we call it dead weight loss. 係啊，喺右邊咁先 okay? The opposite direction, okay, the opposite direction, and it's extremely easy to mess up this diagram, okay 嗱，所以唔該你啊，真係慢慢畫啊 ，you need to follow the steps and always remember to mark Q2 first， 非常之重要啊 ，OK 好嘛？嗱，there is another way. Much more complicated to explain the dead weight loss, right? But again, let's deal with the past paper questions to see how much we can finish first before we wrap up this video with the final complicated explanation. Okay, 好嘛，好嚟啦噃。Again, MC, no, we can't do that. No, we've done it. 有冇 subsidy 啊？未有 subsidy 喎，見下 subsidy 先。咦，原來 MC 冇乜 subsidy 啊？Yes, here we go. Here we go. Now let's go to page 25. Okay, let's go to page 25. Okay, 好嘛，嚟啦噃。2022. Okay, question 21. 嗱，你見到啊，subsidy 係難好多㗎。You can tell, right? Look at the percentage, right? 係嘛？ Now here originally we have this subsidy without subsidy, and then it goes here, right? Originally, the subsidy is here without subsidy and with subsidy, right? Now it says if the government cancels the per unit subsidy, let's see what it will lead to an increase, lead to a decrease in what, okay? Now, first of all, without subsidy, definitely, we are going back to the without subsidy place. Therefore, QT will drop. That is true, right? 好啦 consumer surplus 畫下咪知咯，係嘛 consumer surplus with the subsidy is here. Without the subsidy, it's here. So has it dropped? Yes, it has dropped, right? And lead to a decrease in dead weight loss. This is also correct. 嗱，又係嗰句啦。Why? Because now market intervention is cancelled, disappeared. Okay, therefore debt weight loss should drop. 記住有 market intervention 就 debt weight loss， 冇 market intervention the debt weight loss should drop, right? So it will drop, right? 1, 2 and 3。嗱呢個幾難啊，係咪？ You see 50% only, but you see, right? As long as our basic concepts are fine, we don't overcomplicate things, then it should be fine. Okay, it should be fine. 好啦，跟住啦噃 ，next question. This one 47%, and it's in the report, right? So we will look at the reports when we go back to school. OK， 好嘛，好啦。The provision of a per unit production subsidy on a good will lead to 嗱，今次啦係加個 subsidy 落去啊 ，will lead to let's see the fall in a producer surplus。我哋諗諗先 ，subsidy given to whom? Given to producer, right? How does a subsidy work? I give subsidy to producer so that they will do more 啊，係嘛 ？Supposedly they will do more of the goods for me。係咪 suppose 係咁噶嘛？嗱 therefore a subsidy should result in an increase in producer surplus so that they will produce more。我係鼓勵佢做多啲嘛 ，so doesn't make sense. For right, a rise in 呢個唔講啦 ，Te equals to P times Q. Here P decrease, Q increase, so we don't know 唔知係嘛 ？A rise in the total social surplus of the good， 你話啱唔啱啊？如果啱就冇 debt weight loss 啦，係咪 ？Then debt weight loss will increase 喎。We just mentioned right， 肯定唔啱啦，係咪啊 ？And a rise in total revenue including subsidy, of course。好啦，其實呢條點解做得咁差 ？The problem is this one, total social surplus. Do you remember what I said? I said in the textbook refers to TSS as CS plus PS. In the case of subsidy, this will increase. This would also increase. That's why people think total social surplus will increase. 所以我話啦，點解我哋係應該要加呢個 ？We need to add government. Unfortunately, for our case, government will drop more than they increase. OK， 所以小心啲啊。C is a very important answer. Although it is not correct, you still need to revise this. OK， 記住啊。Whenever we have debt weight loss, it means that total social surplus would have decreased. OK， 我哋一陣間先解呢個。We will prove this with the final method on area. OK， 好嘛？好啦，跟住下一條講咩㗎 ？Next question. We have done it. And is there any more? Yeah, subsidy. 仲有一條啊。Let's go to page 27. Okay, page 27. Here. Then we move on to the short questions and long questions. Okay, page 27 here, question 2024, question 20. Again, I don't have the percentage here because obviously, right, for obvious reason. 好嘛，S0 without subsidy, then with subsidy, more and more subsidy. Okay, it says, suppose the government increase the per unit subsidy from 5 to 10. Now, which of the following statement is correct? 我哋睇睇先啊。The new total social surplus, okay, let's be careful, right? Let's be careful, 係咪啊？睇先啊，不如倒轉嚟睇啊。I think debt weight loss you will know, right? That used to be debt weight loss, with $5 subsidy. Debt weight loss was here. How do I know? 記住啊 ，we look at Q2, then we go up. We see MC here. MB here. Okay, then at Q3, we see MC here, MB here. Okay, 好嘛? So the new debt weight loss is right here. So the increase in debt weight loss should be EFIH. 係咪? EHIF, exactly the answer. Exactly the answer. Okay, exactly the answer we want. Okay, 好嘛? Now, what about the total social surplus, right? Obviously, I think you will know it would drop further and further, okay? Since the deadweight loss is increasing and increasing, I think you will know that total social surplus would drop further and further. Okay, 好嘛? But let's deal with the total social surplus by the end of the video, right? By the end of the video. 好嘛? 好啦, now, I think we're done with the MC. Now, let's look at the long questions and short questions. Now, this is a very important question. Later on, when we go to GDP, chapter 15 and chapter 16, we will see this question again, right? Now, the government of country X introduced a pioneer subsidy on to the education system, education service of private universities. 係咪佢話啦？同啲私校啊，係嘛？ The subsidy causes inefficiency even though both students and university benefits. Okay, we need to defend this statement by comparing the MC and MB. OK， 好啦，咁即係呢條啦，講明係用 MB 同 MC 嘅。So this one, remember, this is MB. Here, let's call this S1 equals to MC. S2 你記住啊 ，MC plus S. Now we have a subsidy here. But remember, always start at Q2, the new quantity. At new quantity, let's check. MB is right here. MC is right here. While the efficient point, MB equals to MC, should be here. Okay? Now, you will see this is the deadweight loss. Now, let's complete the diagram. Okay, let's complete the diagram with these. P2 drop and quantity increase, right? Now, how do we write? We say that with a subsidy, what happens? Q1 goes to Q2. But then at Q2, MC is higher, larger than MB, which means this is inefficient. In fact, if you remember, what do we call this? We call this overproduction. 原來咁答嘅啫。We just need to point out MC is larger than MB at the new quantity. Therefore, it is inefficient overproduction. OK， 你見唔係好多分嘅咋，3分嘅咋。OK， now so you see, right? Without comparing the area, it is so much more easier and elegant, 係咪啊 ？Much more elegant to just look at MB and MC without all the complications, right? 得唔得？呢條係咁嘅啫。Then let's try. Actually, we have no more. Now, there is one thing we haven't dealt with. 我哋仲有一樣嘢未處理喎，係咪啊？好，等等啊。你等我見到幾版啦，差唔多到㗎啦。Okay, now, so far, we have used the elegant method of MB versus MC to derive the deadweight loss. But then, you see there is a certain question for text. There is a certain question asking for area. So there is no stopping of HKEAA to use area to ask you about per unit subsidy instead. 佢係可以用 area 問你㗎，你唔好咁老定啊。So how do we do areas? Okay, now this is going to be a lot of trouble. Okay, trust me, this is going to be very problematic. Okay, 嚟啦噃。Now let's try to cut up the pizza again. 我哋又戒 pizza 啦噃，好唔好啊？ I always hate this kind of doing, but you have to do it anyway. OK， 嚟啦噃 I draw a bigger one， 睇幾大先去到去到呢度啦，啱啱個 screen 睇晒。Okay, we have our normal demand, which is D equals to MB right here. OK, D equals to MB 好似有啲雜勾貨，望望先。唔關事，低清啫。Then here we have our S1 equals to MC. And then we have our S2 equals to MC plus S. Let's go this way, right? Of course, this is a subsidy. 好嘛? Now, remember, let's remind ourselves. Q2 is here. Now, although it's not incredibly important in our case, in our explanation, not incredibly important in our case. 我哋畫晒其他 parameter 先，跟住我哋慢慢解啊。This is P1, this is P2. Okay, now, first of all, under the original situation, let's look for CS and PS. Consumer consumer surplus subsidy benefit. Consumer surplus is at here, this guy. While producer surplus is at this guy, very, very normal, right? Very normal, right? So let me draw here. I will draw here, try to draw here. Okay, you see, this is the original total social surplus, right? 好啦, what about the new total social surplus? Okay, the new total social surplus. First of all, let's look at consumer. Consumer is right, again, demand and price is right here. Okay, right here. So you will see it has a bit of increase. And in fact, you will see this part is the increase in consumer surplus. Okay, mark 翻低先，驚你撈亂啦。This is our P1, this is our P2. Okay, P1, P2. Okay, 嗱呢個唔難啊。What about the producer? Where is the producer? 記住啊 ，producer refers to the to the difference between price and MC. 唔該搞清楚啊 ，price and MC. Okay, 得唔得？ So here we are using P2 and MC. Funny enough, the producer surplus. First, we have this small area. Okay, we have this very small area. 啱嘅呢個 ，OK 啱嘅。And then afterwards, from here onwards, let's check. The price is lower than the cost. So this funny guy. Okay, 嗱，我呢個油實佢先。Now this is a positive. This funny guy 係嘛？呢個咁嘅三句 is actually a negative producer surplus. 佢蝕緊㗎呢度。Okay, does it make sense to you? Because cost is higher than the price, so they are making a loss. 嗱，咁戇居嘅，未完，你冷靜啲先。Okay, but is this the only thing they will receive? No. Remember, this is a subsidy. Therefore, they would also a subsidy of these vertical amounts. And they are selling at Q2. So this is the subsidy they are going to receive. 好啦, very funny, right? This part we lose something, but this part we also gain something. 即係咩意思啊? We also have part of the part of subsidy here. So what would they do? They simply cancel out each other. 係咪呢 part 咪其實係 cancel 咗佢咯？係嘛？ No lose, no gain. But we still have a big part here. Therefore, the total, okay, the total producer surplus after subsidy is actually right here. 我唔好攞呢隻。It's actually right here. Okay, originally at this guy. Now this triangle. So do you see what's going on? We also have an increase. 嗱，下面係 increase in CS 啊，上面 係 increase in PS。你知咩意思啊？我畫出嚟啊 ，here。This is P1， this is P2。上面咧我做埋一個 P3 啊 ，P3 係嘛 ？Down here， this is an increase in CS。Up here， this is an increase in PS。所以頭先個句冇錯㗎。Both consumer surplus and producer surplus will increase。咁點解 total social surplus 冇升啊 ？The problem is take a look at this big box, okay, which I use red. I use red here. This big box 成大嚿啊 What is this? This is the government expenditure. 舊 subsidy 要government 使錢㗎嘛 ？Compare. This is negative. This is positive. This is also positive. But do you see? We still have a bit of negative here. So what is this thing? Exactly our deadweight loss. 原來啊，點解有 deadweight loss 啊？ The verbal explanation is that the gain in CS plus the gain in PS, OK， 倒轉咗嚟寫啊，唔緊要。is actually smaller than the loss in government value. Therefore, there is a net loss. 呢個咪個 deadweight loss 咯。OK， 得唔得？嗱 ，boys, this is getting very messy, right? But this is the correct explanation. 點解 deadweight loss 會喺度啦 ？OK， 嗱 ，you see, right? You see, normally I would avoid using this kind of method to explain to you. Otherwise, it gets very complicated. So, boys, my advice: unless the question specifically asks you to use area, which, by the way, you can expect in your half-yearly exam, right? You can expect in a half-yearly exam, right? Just stick to MBMC, right? You see, when we use MBMC, things are much easier. Okay, and with that said, we are done with market intervention. For the next video, which is the last video for this series of videos, right? We are going to look at a concept we call externality, 界外效應，好嗎？Then I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.